Welcome back, students. Now we are left with last topic, that is structure of vertebra. Now before teaching you structure of vertebra, I would like to just again go through this spinal cord. And you know that this is figure A. They have shown you the regions of the spinal cord which we have already discussed. These are the curves. The first one is in the neck, we call it cervical. Then the next curve makes your thorax, so thoracic, then lumbar, then sacrum, and then coccyx. Okay, so now we will discuss the structure of each vertebra. So here they have explained that each vertebra is somewhat ring-like structure. Its lower part, that is actually the front part we say, is formed of solid cylinder of bone called centrum. Means suppose this we are seeing from the front view, but same if we see from the side view, it will be like this. Fine. So the main structure here refers is the main structure they are talking about is this is the main body of the vertebra, and this main body is known as centrum. The two opposite ends of the centrum are flat. On the dorsal side, centrum has neural canal which is formed by the union of neural arches. Now see, once again we will refer to this. This vertebra is shown here, and as I told you, this is the body. So it has two neural arches. These are called neural arches. Where they join, this forms a sort of ridge like structure, and it is called neural spine. This is the typical vertebra. If you see the vertebra of this is of thoracic, here you can see that these are the neural arches. This is the centrum, and each vertebra has a hole inside. We call it foramen. Like in cranium you have studied foramen magnum. Here we can call neural hole from where the spinal cord runs, neural canal. So this is the neural canal from where the spinal cord will run. And these are this here in this case neural spine is much more means pointed. This is the neural spine. And at the each side there are two extensions. We call them transverse processes. These transverse processes, they help them to articulate. So whenever you will find the word articulate with respect to vertebral column or vertebrae, so you should understand that articulate means they form joints. Means you know that all these vertebrae, through these vertebrae, one thing is that there runs spinal cord from all these. And these vertebrae are also joining to each other. So we say that they articulate with each other, and also they are joined with muscles, with bones, with tendons, with ligaments. So how they are joined? They are joined through these transverse processes. Okay. Now let us continue here. As they say, neural spine is a flat longitudinal ridge projecting upward from the meeting point of two neural arches, and transverse processes are sideward projections. So as I told you, from side there are projections, we call them transverse processes, and these transverse processes are thick sideward projections which from the neural arches, and neural arches also bear articular facets. So when they say articular facets, that means they are talking about joint, where you can say where there is junction of the bones. And actually there are junctions, one is in the front and one is in the behind. From upside also the vertebrae are connected, and down also because there is a whole row of vertebrae, 33 you have studied or 26, right? So which help in joining the two vertebrae and one behind the other. And in between these vertebrae there is a pad of cartilage, and this cartilage, it provides cushioning and the movement. That is why there is no sound, and you can easily, the vertebrae can glide over one over the other, and it forms a sort of cushioning between these vertebrae. This cartilage is also called intervertebral disc, cartilage intervertebral disc, or you can also call it as gristle. Okay, so which structures you need to remember? Now if you see this one, as I told you, this is the front view. This is the body, centrum. This is the neural canal from where this hole is called the neural canal, from where the spinal cord will run. And these are the arches. We call them neural arch. Where they join, they form a ridge that is called neural spine. And then there are some extensions, sideward extensions. These sideward extensions are called transverse processes. With the help of these transverse processes, they are able to articulate, means they are able to form joints with other vertebrae as well as from sideways. Now once again look at this. These are the first two vertebrae of cervical. As you have studied that cervical has total 7 vertebra, and these 7 do not resemble, especially the first and second are totally different. So we call it like this: C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6 and C7. And this is the first cervical vertebra is called atlas. The second vertebra is called axis, and rest all 5 do not have any particular name. Okay, and then this they have shown one structure of thoracic vertebra from here, thoracic vertebra, and this is the side view. So if we see the same thing from a side, then we can understand that this is the body which is called the centrum. These are the neural arches, and these neural arches are extended to form neural spine, and from the neural arches extended the sideward projections. These sideward projections are called transverse processes, which help in articulation. Articulation means, again as I told you, the formation of the joints. So then they have explained neck or cervical vertebrae. As I told you, first is called atlas, the second one is called axis. In thoracic vertebrae, they have long neural spines, which is clearly given in the diagram, and the transverse processes has both sides of facet. Again, facet means a side for the formation of for the joint. Then lumbar vertebrae and sacrum, which is formed by fused 5 and 1 bone, and coccyx, which is formed by the fusion of 4 bones and taken as 1. So this was all about the structure of vertebrae. Now we will discuss the question answers. So here we have multiple choice type question. Your external ear, that is pinna, is supported by cartilage. The type of joint which is found at shoulder is also found in hip. Shoulder and hip have same type of joints, that is the movable joints. The next is, which one of the following categories of vertebrae are correctly numbered? The first one is correctly numbered because there are 7 cervical vertebrae. Human skeleton altogether contains 213 bones. Which of these are the 6 bones? 6 bones are ear ossicles, 3 in one ear and 3 in the other ear. Now very short answers. Name the parts of skeleton where the following are located. Transverse process, again you can write these are located in vertebra, neural arc of vertebra or simply vertebra. Glenoid cavity, this is in pectoral, or you can write shoulder girdle. Same way shoulder blade, same pectoral girdle. And acetabulum, this I told you is the cavity present in the hip girdle, or you can write pelvic girdle. Name any 2 parts of your body where the supporting skeleton is made of cartilage instead of bone. Cartilage, you can write ear, external part of ear, and you can write the tip of the nose. Then short answer, what is the difference between true rib and floating rib? This you have studied in the book, it is clearly given. True ribs, the first 7 are called true ribs, and they are directly attached with the breastbone sternum. And the 11th and 12th pair, 11th and 12th are called floating ribs because they are not attached to the sternum. Do muscles pull the structure or push them? Explain briefly. Muscles only pull the structures. Here you can explain, it is given on page number 123. You can write from here that muscles are long bundles of contractile tissue. Each muscle has 2 ends, a fixed end and which originates from which the muscle originates, and a movable end which pulls other part, pulls. Okay, this movable end is drawn out to form a tough structure called tendon, so which is attached to the bone. So when stimulated by nerve, the muscle contracts. The muscle contracts, becomes shorter and thicker, and thus it pulls the bone. Fine, till here you can note down. The next question is, just as humerus corresponds to femur, what bones correspond to tarsals? So like we have femur in the arm, and same way we have femur in the leg, upper leg, we have humerus in the arm. So what corresponds to tarsals? Like we have tarsals in foot, in the ankle, we have carpals in the wrist. Metacarpals, metatarsals. Ulna, fibula, and radius tibia. What are antagonistic muscles? This also you have studied. Antagonistic muscles are muscles which cause opposing movements, and they always work in pairs, which are present in pairs, and they cause opposing movements. An example, you can write biceps and triceps in our upper arm, or you can write extensor and flexor muscles in our upper arm. Some people in old age complain of stiff joints. What do you think would be a possible reason? So as we grow with age, what happens is that the synovial fluid which is present in the joints, you have studied, it acts as a lubricant. So that this fluid is actually, it decreases, its quantity decreases, and this causes the stiffness of the joints. So the joints become stiff. Then the long question answers. What are the uses of skeleton? You can write down from the first page. Name the type of joints, give one example of each. This also you can note down, direct question from the book. What is the difference between ligament and tendon on the basis of their function? So you all know that they join bones with bones, and they join bones with muscles. So they cause the movement of muscles, and here the bones. What are bones made up of? Bones are made up of organic and inorganic substances. The inorganic substances form the two-third part of the bone, and organic 1/3 part. Inorganic parts like calcium, phosphorus, etc. So are bones living or non-living? Bones, you can say bones are living because they have living cells, osteocytes. You all have studied osteocytes, which keep growing and are being also produced in number. But if you take out a bone, and after some time the cells will die and only the inorganic part will left, then you can say that it becomes non-living. But as long as it is along with the body, we will say it is living. The last question is given below is a human skeleton. You have to name the bones. I hope that you can do this question by yourself, and if you have any doubts, all the doubts would be clarified in your doubt class. So dear students, please revise till here, and thank you very much.